What's going on, guys? Crypto Renegade again here for you, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the invisible twin and proving ground for the entire Polkadot ecosystem, Kusama. KSM is the native token for the Kusama network, which is also a very crucial part of the Polkadot ecosystem. But before I jump into the content, I just updated my new free ebook on the 7 best ways to secure your crypto, updated for 2021. It's 100% free, so check that out in the description below, and it will also be pinned in the comments. All right, let's get started. All right, guys, welcome back. So in our last few videos, we talked about the future of Polkadot and its impacts on the crypto ecosystem. Today, I am continuing my series of Polka projects, which includes all of the current projects in active development in the Polkadot ecosystem. This is actually really exciting, as there are a lot of projects that we are going to be covering here. So stay tuned and subscribe, because some of these projects can make you lots of money very quickly if you play your cards right. So let's talk about Kusama, a Canary network to Polkadot. But what exactly is Kusama, and how is it connected to Polkadot? Well, Kusama is Polkadot's Canary network, which means that it's an experimental community, research, and development protocol. Its main purpose is to help developers test and deploy parachains on the Polkadot ecosystem, or experiment its governance and staking functions with real economic conditions. Canary testing is important, as developers behind both chains hypothesize that it is the best way to completely understand the critical risks that lie in Polkadot's development. As an unrefined version of Polkadot itself, Kusama functions as an independent, decentralized main network. It will continually function as long as the community allows it to, since decentralized systems inherently have no kill switches. It could possibly become a relay chain to Polkadot. However, it is never intended to merge with Polkadot's chain itself on the mainnet. So is Kusama all the hype? What problem does it actually solve? Well, Kusama has been called the Canary network for Polkadot in reference to the practice of miners carrying canaries with them into a coal mine to provide an early warning of carbon monoxide and other dangerous gases that could hurt the miners or even cause the mine to explode. Kusama is the canary that warns developers of any problems, dangers, and vulnerabilities in the code that they are building. Kusama is also called the wild cousin of Polkadot, and developers are warned to expect chaos, and that there are no promises when building on Kusama. All the warnings come because even though Kusama is built on the same code base as Polkadot, it also is an unaudited version that is intended to act as a developmental environment to test new features before launching them on Polkadot. That means code on Kusama can be broken or contain vulnerabilities. It gives developers the chance to play with the code and new features, and even break things into highlight issues. Once the code has been tested and optimized, it can then move over to Polkadot. Roles on Kusama. Let's talk about it. There are several ways to participate on Kusama network by either being a builder, maintainer, or an end user. Let's first talk about builders. The first role we are going to talk about concerns developers and development teams. Their role would be to build parachains, parathreads, bridges, or block explorers. There are some reasons why developers and development teams should consider building on Kusama. As we already mentioned, Kusama has the same code base as Polkadot, so if they build the applications on Kusama first, they would have nearly the same experience when they build it in Polkadot. Also, deploying a parachain in Kusama would be way cheaper than it would in Polkadot, as acquiring parachain slots will probably be a lot cheaper in Kusama than it currently is on Polkadot. So for new parachains that are still in an early phase and need to be deployed to Polkadot, it would make sense for teams and developers to first deploy them in Kusama first before they go to Polkadot. Network maintainers. So be it Kusama or Polkadot networks, a set of actors are helping to maintain them. Those are validators, nominators, collators, and governance actors. Nominators' role is to choose good and reputable validators and stake KSM. You can refer to our guide on how to nominate in Kusama for a step-by-step walkthrough process, which I'll link in the description. Collaborators' role is to maintain parachains by collecting parachain transactions from users and producing state transition proofs for validators. Validators are also maintaining the network and are responsible for new blocks and to participate in consensus with other validators. They are staking tokens at the risk of being slashed, but they also earn rewards for performing their validation duties. Governance actors, this role implies participating on how Kusama evolves, what direction it will take, and what it's going to turn into. Improvements and changes to Kusama code or its code base can be introduced through proposals that can be submitted by anyone as long as a minimum amount of KSM is deposited for that purpose. Let's talk about parachains and parathreads. So a parachain or parallelizable chain is a simpler form of blockchain which attaches to the security provided by the relay chain rather than providing its own. It is validatable by the validators of that relay chain. Parachain will require a parachain slot, which will be acquirable by auctions. It is maintained by collaborators whose role is to maintain a full node of the parachain, retain all of its necessary information, and produce new blocks to pass the relay chain validators or verification and inclusion in the shared state of Kusama. Let's talk about parathreads. So parachain and parathreads are very similar from a technological point of view. A parachain can become at some point a parathread and vice versa. The difference between them is rather economic. A parachain will need to require a slot through auction, while parathreads have a fixed fee to pay for registration, which would be much lower than the cost of acquiring a parachain slot. However, this fee will only guarantee the registration of the parathread code. As parathreads progress and produce new blocks, there will be a fee associated to include newly generated blocks in the relay chain, which will take the form of a block auction competing with other registered parathreads. These are the key to the KSM and DOT network for scaling, which is the key motivator to create this network and new crypto ecosystem of its kind in the first place. For many years, the primary debate for crypto devs and investors is and was, how are we going to scale Bitcoin to bring crypto mainstream?
And I'm very confident about scaling because ultimately scaling is an engineering issue.
So now that we know how it works and what it does, what is the future of KSM? Kusama is a self-governed network without any centralized decision body, so the network's existence and all its upgrades and changes are decided by its users. In other words, Kusama will exist while there is a demand for its functionalities with the growing number of projects on Kusama and the successful launch of Polkadot. It looks likely that the popularity of this network will continue to grow in the near future. In 2020, the Web3 Foundation allocated one of its grants to Swisscom Blockchain AG to develop Kubernetes operator for Sentry nodes and validators for both Kusama and Polkadot. This technology aims to contribute to the network's robustness, making Kusama more secure and less vulnerable to attacks. As Gavin Wood wrote in the Kusama launch blog post, in Kusama's mind, R&D stands for risk and danger.
Whoa, what's going on with me?
Oh, William, what's going on is that you just drank a cup of poison.
And the project claims to live up to this promise. After its recent hackathon, Kusama partnered with Robonomics, which we'll touch on later, to develop an interplanetary architecture of the Kusama network, which can connect networks and relay data between Mars and Earth. All right, guys, so what do you think? Are you gonna take a second look at accumulating KSM? If not, are you gonna try now that you know it's a part of Polkadot's lucrative ecosystem? Let me know down in the comments below. And then go ahead and click right here in the top right corner to watch my video on why Polkadot will be over $1,000 soon. See you guys in that video. Crypto Renegade out.